In Think Like a Man, four friends conspire to turn the tables on their women when they discover the ladies have been using Steve Harvey's relationship advice against them.
What is the problem with men of this generation?
Ladies, till you understand the mindset of a man, you are never gonna win in the game of love.
Act like a lady,
but think like a man.
Now one book is changing the game.
What are your short-term goals?
What are your long-term goals?
What are your views on relationships?
Who are you, Oprah?
I could use a nightcap. She has this 5-date rule before I get invited up.
We like friends without benefits.
She thinks I'm a chef on the rise. She's going to run when I tell her the truth.
I knew only two things about Think Like a Man when I went to see it. One is that it was coming out on Friday, April 20th, 2012, and two is that Kevin Hart was in it, and I love Kevin Hart, so right there I was sold. As soon as I knew Kevin Hart's got a movie coming out, I'm there. You got it. But I quickly caught on to the fact that it is kind of interesting in that it's based on a book that I'm pretty sure is an actual relationship advice book, and then they made like a fictional story about using that book. Like, I don't know the book that this is based on, Steve Harvey's book. I don't think it's fictional, though. I don't think that, like, the plot of this movie was the book. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. So, if that's the case, then I think that's kind of interesting. It's definitely a different spin. You use a relationship advice book, or just an advice book about anything, and kind of make a fictional story about using that book. It's interesting. I appreciate that. But once I realized that's what the movie was about, and I'm not kidding, I did not know anything about it before I went in to see it, I was like, oh no, I'm not going to get into this movie because I already think that it's stupid in the sense that, you know, relationship advice or relationship rules, there are actually people that I know that think, you know, they have like rules about relationships, and like there's a part in the movie where, you know, the girl refuses to open the door to the car for herself, like the guy has to do it, and I'm like, I know people that really would say that. Like, that's ridiculous. It's insanity. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with opening the door for a woman on a date. That's perfectly fine. In fact, actually, these days, girls could get offended if you do that. But I'm just saying that I know people that actually follow relationship, like, rules and advice, and it drives me crazy to think that people actually act that way. So, to watch a movie about it for 2 hours, actually, it's relatively long for what it's worth. I was kind of surprised. I didn't think I'd get into it because I just, right off the bat, I was like, well, I hate this. I hate this concept. However, it is kind of back and forth, and the guys sort of take that advice book and try to, like, one-up the girls and give them a taste of their own medicine. And I do think that, for the most part, it was pretty well balanced between the guys and the girls. You know, it didn't lean one way or the other. I think that guys and girls, you know, if you take a date, I guess, to see it, will enjoy it equally, because they're like, ha ha ha, oh ho ho, it kind of goes back and forth. But the main question here is it funny? And the answer is yes. I was laughing throughout, I thought it was very funny, but is it good? I mean, it served its purpose. This is the type of thing I always look for. It was supposed to be funny, and it was funny, so right off the bat, it's done its job. It kind of reminded me almost of, like, the sassy, snappy version of New Year's Eve, in that there were a lot of characters, and it kind of had, like, multiple storylines going on that, like, intertwined and stuff, because they're all friends, and they meet each other's people and whatnot, but it kind of reminded me of that. You know, you could do New Year's Eve, Valentine's Day, those types of movies. It was like that. It was definitely hectic and fast-paced, which is not a bad thing, but it was almost like keeping up with someone that's walking just a little too fast. They're not running, you're not chasing them, but they're walking just a tiny bit too fast for your liking, and you want to relax a little bit. That's kind of what it felt like, and I think that actually is a really good analogy. I don't know where the hell I just pulled that out of, but take it for what it's worth. So, if you don't like those types of movies, you might not like it. If you do, and you're fine with kind of like a cheese ball, a cheese fest, whatever you want to call it, it is funny, so if you can get past the cheese factor, it is enjoyable. While not all of the acting was great, I, for example, am not a huge fan of Megan Good, I believe her name is, from Cousin Skeeter. That's what I know her from. I am not the biggest fan of her. I don't think she's that great, but I think that, you know, Kevin Hart, for example, knocked it out of the park. I think he's hilarious. Like I said, he's the only reason I went to see it, really, and I thought he was fantastic. The rest of the cast, you know, was, I would say the majority of them were good, and then there was a couple of just whatevers, like Megan Good. And there was one other person in the cast, that is Chris Brown. I had no idea he was in it. Once again, didn't know anything. And I have to say, I was very surprised that my audience, they, like, cheered for him. And I would say it was, I was, like, the only white person there. I'll just, you know, be upfront about that. But it was... The majority was definitely mid to late 20s black women, and they went nuts when he came on screen, and I was like, whoa, I didn't know that everyone was cool with him again, but I don't really follow closely enough with these types of matters, but I was very surprised. But regardless of that, just some things I observed while I was at the theater. I did enjoy it. I thought it was funny, cheesy, silly, goofy. Yes, of course, it was not, you know, a great film by any means, but it was fun. I enjoyed myself, and I think that's all you can really ask of Think Like a Man. So let me know in the comments what you thought of Think Like a Man. Have you read this book? I actually did look it up on my phone, and I was right. It is an advice book, so I do think that's pretty cool, and I can appreciate that they kind of made like a fictional story that involves the book. Interesting, I like it, so I'm cool with that. Let me know what you thought of the cast. Did you think they were funny? What did you think of Kevin Hart? Do you love him? Do you hate him? I don't think everybody loves him, but I do, so let me know what you thought of him and everyone else. Let me know if you agree or disagree about my kind of relating it to a New Year's Eve type of movie where there's a lot of cast members and lots of storylines going on. Let me know anything you want about Think Like a Man, and that's pretty much it.
Jay, you're losing the games for us. You're not even using the picks. You shot 1 for 27. I'm not the one that's not coming off the picks.
Y'all done here? We want to play some full court.
Oh, yeah, we're good. No, we're not. Y'all want the court, you play for the court. That's what real men do.
So y'all want to play for it?
Am I stuttering? You're not going to punk us.
I'm not serious.
I am serious. People come in here and they think they got us. Y'all don't have nothing.